Where are you going?
I'm going to pick a fight.
We do not have the burden of proof because it's very simple in logic. The claim that goes against the status quo has the burden. And Ozin and I here, we are representing the status quo, the understanding that we did go to the moon, which is the
generally accepted position.
This conversation is about the moon landing and the evidence of
If we went or not.
Before we even look at the supposed evidence, we already have a fake moon landing that is far more complicated and difficult than actually just landing on the moon.
It's easier to just go to the moon.
So you're saying they couldn't Hollywood fake it, but they have the technology to go to the moon?
That's right.
It's been harder to fake it than go. The technology to fake it did
Not exist.
You don't have the technology to fake the moon landing. It's not even, how would you even do that? How would you fake the moon landing in a studio?
practically impossible.
I swear to you, it's easier to just go to the damn moon.
Oh my God, you're fucking brain dead.
Really? Would it be? Why would it be so hard to make video footage and photographic footage?
Doesn't matter what you think is or isn't possible. They did absolutely fake things about the moon landing. It's just undeniable. It is what it is. I mean, you can definitely try to make excuses for everything, but no one cares. That's just coping.
I mean, how absurd is it to say that you have the technology to fly to the moon, but you don't have the technology to fake flying? That's just
so fucking stupid. It's like people are they just want to believe
and confidently believe.
So you're telling me technology goes backwards, Tim? You actually believe that?
It's like, yeah, well, sure, my girlfriend told me that she was at my mom's playing video games with her brother, and she was actually at a club with another dude, but maybe that was someone else that just looked like her, and she has a stunt double that actually she let borrow her phone that just so happened to go there, and then her location messed up and said it wasn't her mom. And she just got in his car because she just needed to borrow a pin so she could write a note to her friend.
Alright, bro.
Would be easier to fake it.
We can get rid of the idea that you can't fake it. You definitely can. The government has the burden to prove the claim that they make to you. That's how it works.
All we have to do is assume that they're lying.
The presumption should be the government is innocent of lying.
We know governments lie. So there's no assumptions in assuming we didn't go to the moon. There's tons of assumptions in assuming we did.
NASA were losing the space race.
We were not the first in space. Russia was.
The Soviet Union was crushing us.
Russia were the first people to put humans and animals in orbit.
Russians even put the first black person in space.
But the U.S. wanted to be first to land on the moon.
The only thing that they did first was get to the moon.
And then we say, we win.
The one thing we defeated them on.
And the Soviets confirmed that happened.
Are they all in on it too?
This is the most damning piece of evidence against the deniers of the moon landing.
Why would the Soviet Union bust out something they're a part of? Say you have the mob, like two different mobs. They may be enemies and rivals, but they're not going to go explain how everything works in the mob to the feds. It's the same thing. Like, that's a ridiculous argument. No, they wouldn't blow the lid on something if they're faking it as well. It's just coping.
How many people would need to be involved for it to work?
You're going to hoax a moon landing by telling 10,000 scientists and engineers to keep it secret for 40 years?
It's not just NASA that would have had to fake this. It's basically the entire world.
That would get out. Lesser stuff than that gets out.
So you don't think that anybody's capable of keeping secrets?
Not on that level. Oh, no. I think there's 0% chance that that's likely.
I don't.
Oh, my gosh.
I completely disagree.
Russia and the United States supposedly both work on the ISS and go there. Do you think that Russia and the United States may have come to an agreement about faking space? No, there's no way. We're enemies. We would have told... Dude, they openly have an agreement about space. Are you kidding me? Would all the space agencies be in on it? Let's look at China's. Wow. Oh, man. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, hey. Look how flat that is. Oh, look, the Earth's concave. Oh, look, the Earth's flat again. Oh, what is that? That is clearly fake. Oh, it's flat again. So people won't defend, like, Japan and China. They don't like to talk about it. Look how incredibly bad it is. So, do you think they're all faking it? Yeah, of course they are. Like, well, why would one mob tell on the other mob? Like, you might have gang wars, but none of the gangs are going to go snitch to the police. Even if you believe that they're these enemies. And of course, we've seen immense international cooperation, like how they all shut the world down at the same time. Like, you think all of them are faking. Have you ever watched the other people that you're like defending the legitimacy of right now? Their videos are so bad. Look at that horizon.
There are members of our society that are so impressed with what we achieved that they can't believe it.
Well, yeah.
So I take it as a compliment that people stand dumbstruck, awestruck, that it is beyond their capacity to believe it. 33-story rocket filled with fuel launched from Cape Canaveral, went to the moon, took pictures from the front side of the moon, the back side of the moon, images from the surface of the moon. A week later, it comes back. An aircraft carrier goes into the Pacific to pick up a capsule out of the ocean. People get out of the capsule, get on the spacecraft. The president meets them. Life magazine writes profiles of each of the astronauts, and you saw their families. And the president said we should do it. And it was this grand mission from NASA.
We were living that romance.
We could see it as it was happening. We could watch on live television.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And the fact that 600 million people around the world were either watching or listening on radio and TV as it happened is a measure of the impact that
This thing had on the world's consciousness.
They pulled out a doom buggy, got that going around, played some golf, planted a flag, made a phone call to the moon, and then the very next day, they had the pictures in the paper.
And how many times we go to the moon with not one mishapper? I mean,
it was the first time they ever transferred from one Galilean reference frame to another. They literally had to shift reference frame. They landed on an orbital body with that little tinfoil thing. It didn't have a computer to even land with. Armstrong just winged it. He's like, I got this. He grabs his little Atari joystick and, no testing whatsoever. Brand new concept of physics, never been tested, but no problem. We're just going to plop down on there, and then we're going to walk around and golf and, have a hoot. And then we'll just fly on back home. Don't worry. We've got enough food and oxygen for over 200,000 miles. No problem. We got the thrust to do it. All good to go. We're going to land. Trust us. We're going to get out there. We're going to get back home. And then, the one time when things don't actually work out, where there's a problem with the craft, don't worry. We're just going to slingshot around the whole moon and come on back home. And that's going to work out too.
So basically, to go to the moon, they had to simulate all the conditions necessary, the best they could. So essentially, the whole program of the moon, to get there was basically everything you would need to do to fake the moon landing, because they had to do that anyway to engineer it from the ground up. Like the idea that they, couldn't have done it or had to fake it. That they literally made like replica models that they had tracks that they would run around filming so that they could map it to a computer to make simulations for their flight programs. It's like they did the most advanced, craziest stuff. Like they literally pioneered a whole bunch of everything off of this. But obviously they didn't go anywhere with it. But the it was so advanced. They said that, what was that guy, Gene Kranz, the project manager of the Apollo thing, he said that
the simulations were so real that no controller could discern the difference between the training and the real mission.
We feel like they're real, and that becomes the only reality.
You were in the control center, you were on the ground, you were doing your radio stuff or whatever, you were part of that crew. You had no idea if you were participating in a live simulation or an actual mission.
People just believe what they want. My task is to get people thinking straight in the first place. Train your mind, so you're no longer susceptible to the kinds of thinking where you become selective about the data that you choose to believe. I just teach people sort of how to think. And I explain that. Well then how about? And they start going down a list. And I'm time to go to dinner.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
Everyone should definitely jump on X and then follow me. I'm about to try to glitch out the Matrix on there. That's Witsit Gets It on X. Tell Matt Walsh to debate me on the moon landing. I'm sure he's going to ignore any opportunity to debate. We came out talking about the moon landing, and I'm like, oh, bro, whatever. It's 2024. We don't get videos. And, the people that are playing defense attorney for these people, should be ashamed of themselves. Should be ashamed of themselves. So now we're gonna move on. But the moon landing is fake news. Okay, it is what it is. It's weird if you can't just accept that.